Who am I rooting for in the NFL playoffs this weekend? Literally anyone other than the Patriots. Speaking of games, let's play one. You tell me which of these things isn't like the others, okay? Okay! Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke, Sherrod Brown. You know the answer? Of course you do. You're smart, as evidenced by the fact that you're watching this very video. It's Sherrod Brown who doesn't fit. Because, well, almost everyone knows Biden, Warren, and Beto, and knows they are all very likely to be running for president in 2020. And then no one, or not nearly as many people, know who Sherrod Brown is, or have any clue that he's a potential 2020 candidate too. But here's the thing. Not only is Brown likely to run for president, I think he's the dark horse pick in the Democratic field. Sidebar. Did you know the term dark horse comes from a novel called The Young Duke by famed British politician Benjamin Disraeli? It does. I looked it up on the internet. In the book, an unknown dark horse sweeps to victory in a horse race. Huh? Now, why do I think Brown can come out of nowhere and challenge for a spot in the top tier of candidates alongside the Bidens of the world? Well, I can make that case in 3 simple-ish points. Point number 1, Brown is from Ohio. Now, the Midwest, as you may have heard unless you've taken up residence on another planet over the last few years, is pretty important to winning the White House. Trump's victories in Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan sealed his absolutely improbable victory in 2016. So given that, there is some movement among Democrats to nominate someone in 2020 who can blunt Trump's appeal to Midwestern voters who have traditionally voted Democratic, but who went for President Trump in the last election. Enter Brown. Now, he's been winning elections in Ohio since the 1970s, serving as Ohio Secretary of State, a member of Congress from the Buckeye State, and, since 2006, a U.S. Senator. In Brown's 2018 re-election race, he won by almost 7 points, even though Trump had won the state by 8 points just 2 years before. Point number 2, Brown is a longtime liberal. Look, it's going to be hard for anyone not named Joe Biden to win a Democratic presidential primary in 2020 unless they are a loud and proud liberal. The vast majority of energy in the party is on the left, and it's likely to remain there for at least the duration of Trump's time in office. Now, in 2017, GovTrack rated Brown the 11th most liberal senator in the chamber. Brown's current score from the conservative Heritage Foundation is a whopping 3%. His lifetime score from that organization? Try 5%. And it's that last number that may matter the most. Lots and lots of Democrats who are running for president will cast themselves as liberal champions. Some, like New York's Kirsten Gillibrand, have passed voting records that will make that a bit of a tough sell. Others, like California's Kamala Harris, are newer on the national political scene and won't have much of a voting record at all to lean on to make the liberal case. But Brown has been fighting the fight for a long time, even when it wasn't so cool to call yourself a liberal. Point number 3, Brown is a populist. Amazingly, Donald Trump successfully cast himself as the voice of the average Joe in the 2016 election. Despite being a billionaire who had literally never lived outside of New York City, Trump was regarded by lots of voters, especially white male voters in the Midwest, as one of them. To combat that element of Trump's appeal, Democratic voters may well put significant value on the ability of a candidate who can speak the language of the working man and avoid the appearance of coastal elitism. Brown fits the bill as that populist antidote to Trump. He's spent the majority of his political career arguing for the rights of the little guy, primarily as a front and center advocate for labor unions. Interesting side note, Brown long wore a pin on his lapel of a canary in a coal mine, to remind people and himself about the struggles of miners. Here's Brown, quote, "Populism and patriotism are not racist, they are not anti-Semitic. They don't push some people down in order to lift some people up. They don't appeal to the darker side of human nature." That's from an interview with Vanity Fair in 2018. One extra additional point in Brown's favor, his voice. Okay, since you probably never heard of Brown before, right now, you definitely don't know what his voice sounds like. So, here it is.
We will show America how we celebrate the dignity of work, how we honor organized labor and all workers, the waitress in Toledo, the nurse in Columbus, the office worker in Dayton, the mine worker in Coshocton.
It's pretty distinctive, no? It's been described as gravelly, raspy, and every other adjective meaning sounds like he gargles with rocks that you can think of. But whatever word you use to describe it, Brown's voice is distinctive and authentic. His voice sounds like the guy he is, a scrapper who fights like hell every single day. Now granted, that won't be enough to get any candidate elected or even get the nomination. But in a field that could be as large as 30 candidates and a campaign cycle that does often center on impressions and appearances, having a voice that stands out, literally, is no small thing. Look, if you were gambling your mortgage on a candidate, you'd probably go safe and pick Joe Biden. But if you're the kind of person who's drawn to a little longer odds and a bigger potential payoff, then I think Brown is your guy. And that is the point. We make point videos twice a week. Tune in every Tuesday and Thursday for hot, fresh content.